The fact that people are still trying to convince the nation of Starlink just honestly baffles me. I mean, think about it. We live in a country where so many people still don't have proper internet, especially in rural areas and townships. Schools can't connect their students properly. Farmers are struggling to get information for their crops. But instead of supporting South African companies that are actually working on solving these problems, some people want to bring in Starlink, a foreign company controlled by Elon Musk over in the US that has no real interest in building our country. And let's be clear here, Starlink is a business. It is designed to make money, not to develop South Africa. There are clear examples of what happens when Starlink operates in rural areas. In parts of the United States, Starlink has left small towns dependent on a single satellite connection. When the service went down, people couldn't access their education online. They couldn't run small businesses, and local shops that relied on payments through the internet could not function. Communities became frustrated, not more connected. In Canada, Starlink was introduced in remote towns, but because the company controls all the infrastructure, locals had no say in the pricing or the coverage or the maintenance. People ended up paying far more than what they would for a local service, and the benefits stayed in the company's pocket abroad. And these are real life problems, and they show that foreign companies like Starlink don't always consider the people they serve because they serve the money. Now, look at South Africa. We already have small businesses and local companies that are working hard to connect rural areas, even with very little support. Take, for example, Rain Fibre, which provides wireless broadband in some township areas. They're small compared to the big telecoms, but they know the local needs. Then there's Cool Ideas, which installs Wi-Fi in remote schools and community centers. They understand local communities and they work with them to make sure that the internet actually helps the people, not just the pockets of a foreign billionaire. Vumatel, while it's famous in urban areas, is starting to expand into smaller towns, laying fiber where it makes sense and partnering with local entrepreneurs to manage it. Dark Fibre Africa works to bring infrastructure to areas that big companies ignore. And Siyaphambili Telecoms, a smaller firm, but it's connecting rural clinics to digital health services. These are examples of real South African companies putting the effort into solving our problems and creating jobs and keeping profits here at home. Even Telkom, which is state owned and often criticized for being slow or bureaucratic, has potential if it were managed properly. Imagine a version of Telkom that invests in rural fiber, which partners with local startups and focuses on digital education. It could develop infrastructure that stays in the country, which strengthens local institutions and benefits generations to come. Instead, bringing Starlink in would mean exporting our money and control to the US. Every payment for the internet, every subscription fee would leave the country and go to a company whose interest is not South Africa. The EFF has been pretty clear. They question why anyone would want to give control of our internet to a foreign company, especially one that can operate independently of our laws and priorities. Like, are people actually serious about voting for a party like the DA, which seems to favor foreign interests over national development? The EFF's point is simple. If we insist on being a sovereign nation, we have to make decisions that strengthen South African businesses, that strengthen South African workers and communities. We can't keep handing over our development and our resources and our profits to foreign countries while holding out our hands like beggars. So the real question is that do we really want Starlink in South Africa, or do we want to invest in ourselves? We already have solutions that work and can scale. Local companies understand local problems, and with proper government support, they can grow faster and provide reliable service where it is needed the most. Government funding should go into these companies, into training technicians, into laying fiber and building towers that stay under South African control. I mean, we will get to all the satellite stuff when we are ready. But I think that we have to think strategically and develop something now that will help us become sustainable in the long term. Okay? Leave the shiny stuff out of the equation for a minute. This is trade that benefits us and our partners, not a one sided charity that strengthens someone else's economy and has a high potential of strangling us when we need to move even faster. They're not going to let us run. Think about it like this: every rand we give to Starlink is a rand leaving South Africa. Every decision to let a foreign company control our infrastructure is a decision to weaken our own power and sovereignty. And history shows that foreign interests rarely protect local communities if profits are threatened. They don't care if rural towns are left offline for days or months. They only care about revenue. In the US, Starlink customers in rural areas often report that the service is inconsistent, it's expensive, and it's unresponsive to local needs. And in Canada, local governments were forced to negotiate just to get basic pricing agreements. These are all red flags. And why would we want that here? South Africa has amazing potential where people understand the land, the communities, the problems. Companies like Rain Fibre, Cool Ideas, Vumatel, Dark Fibre Africa, and Siyaphambili Telecoms are proving that solutions exist today. We just need investment and clear policies and the political will to make them succeed. That means directing government budgets to strengthen these organizations, not giving handouts to a foreign company whose main interest is profit and control, headed by someone who continues to manipulate the nation into not believing our eyes and trying his level best and undermining the laws that allow us to be free and own the resources of our country. I truly believe that we are smarter than that. This whole thing is not just about the internet. It's about the kind of country we want to be. Do we want to be a nation that builds its own infrastructure, that maybe creates its own jobs and develops skills and keeps wealth in the country? Or do we want to be a country that depends on foreign corporations to solve our problems while our money flows out and our control slips away? Every connection, every tower, every contract has consequences. Supporting South African businesses is not charity. It is an investment into our future. And the final point that I want to make in this video is accountability. If we let Starlink in, who decides the prices? Who controls maintenance and upgrades? Who handles outages? Who protects data? In contrast, local companies are accountable to the communities that they serve, to the government that regulates them, and to the people who work there. That accountability matters. It ensures that the internet is a tool for development, not just a profit center for someone far away, someone who wants to go to Mars or the moon. I don't even know where he wants to go anymore. I don't even know what he is doing. But I'm going to ask again. Do we really want Starlink here? Or do we want to grow our own companies? Do we want to develop our own infrastructure and keep control of our own future? If we are serious about sovereignty and development and building a nation that works for its own people, the choice is clear. We need to support local businesses. We need to strengthen state institutions like Telkom where possible and make sure that our resources stay in South Africa. That is what you tell your president, your ministers and deputy ministers, your municipality and ward councillors, the whole lot of them, you tell them that. Starlink may seem exciting, but the reality shows that it often harms rural communities and takes control away from locals. We have the solutions, we have the people, and we have the companies ready to do this. They're already doing it. All we need is a commitment from government, from the communities and citizens to make it scale. And that is why the debate over Starlink is not just about the internet. It's about who we are as a nation and who and what we are willing to fight for. If we keep choosing foreign control over local development, we lose more than just money. We lose power, we lose opportunity, we lose our sovereignty. South Africa has everything in it to succeed without handing over its future. Let's invest in ourselves. Let's invest in our businesses and our people. That is the real path to connection and growth and independence. I hope this clarifies why the nation should unite to remove Soile Malatsi and the DA from parliament, as the policies they advance do not serve the country's long term interests or the public good. If it wasn't obvious to you before, hopefully this helps. And if not, that I honestly, I really don't know.